everybody, and welcome to Dork Lords.
Dork Lords.
We have Dork Lord extraordinaire, Mr. Mr. Rob McLemore, all the way from Milwaukee, where he will soon be coming from.
Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, did I say Milwaukee? I said Wisconsin is Milwaukee. It's one place.
Anyways, I'm moving. So
okay, that's right. So he is moving to St. Louis. So forget everything about Wisconsin. It's not a thing anymore. It's not a place anymore. All right, cool. My apologies to Madisonites. Okay, so what we thought we would do today is we're going to do our top three. Now, each of us has three, so there's six total. 6 movies that are our guilty pleasure dork movies. Specifically in the sci-fi fantasy realm, but basically anything dorkly that is a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let Mr. McLemore start things off. Mr. McLemore, what is your third most controversial guilty pleasure movie?
So I think probably the least controversial of my favorite, my guilty pleasure films is definitely Mortal Kombat. I freaking love the original Mortal Kombat movie. It is not a quality film to a certain. Wait, well, all right, yes and no. Like, you know,
your camera's moving around just a little bit.
That was
sir.
me adjusting my.
Oh, okay. You're adjusting yourself. All right, sorry, didn't mean to distract. All right, sorry.
No, no, I'm sitting on a beanbag chair with a blanket on my lap and a computer there, so you know it's not exactly particularly.
I've got a jug for pouring that mine is balanced on. So hi everybody. Okay.
It balances and doubles as a musical instrument.
Yes. Good. Okay. Great. Jug Band Christmas. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas would be a good guilty pleasure. That's not one of mine. But all right, sorry. Back to Mortal Kombat, which I'll just put a little segue in. Best movie I ever saw at a dollar theater. I'll just say that. All right.
Yeah, I saw this movie when it came out in the theaters, like I think twice, maybe 3 times. Like I fell in love with this movie, and I credit it because this is why I know who Christopher Lambert is. Like this was the movie that.
Oh really?
Christopher Lambert.
You didn't get it from Highlander?
No, this was pre-knowledge of Highlander.
Wow.
Hence why I then became a big fan of Highlander. Like, oh, it's the dude from Mortal Kombat. That's awesome. Yeah, so.
All right, sweet. All I remember this great line from Mortal Kombat that he says, which is something on the lines of, you probably know it better than I do, but like,
I can probably quote the movie back to front.
It's like, there are 10 competitions to decide the fate of the universe. They have won 9 of them. But like we've set up this really specific set of circumstances that's hard to believe, but great, awesome. Well, there's one more fight, so we better win this one.
Well, I mean, all right, given your source material of like, here's a bunch of people who are gonna like fight, it's a fighting game. Like, you have a fighting game as a setup, and they got like, it's more so that they realized that it was like a pretty ridiculous premise, and so like, we're just gonna have some fun with it. So you get Christopher Lambert to be Raiden, and like the dude who played Johnny Cage is having a blast, and the dude playing Liu Kang's having a blast, and you get Frank Welker to be Goro and stuff, and that was fun.
Agreed. And you get all that, like, finish him, and get over here!
Some finish him lines in there and whatnot. I mean, to be fair, Johnny Cage had some great lines in that movie. Like, I'm gonna be real here.
And the scorpion fight with the tree, the line of trees and stuff, that was pretty sweet.
A little, crazy thing out of his hand, and
That was good. No, but so the 9 out of 10 thing, I didn't understand why, if it's the best of 10, why wouldn't...
No, it's not even the best of. They have to win 10 in a row.
Oh, is that it? Okay. I was like, they've already won 9. I mean, like, if it's like, we won 1. Yay. Okay, all right. So it was a 10 in a row. It's all or nothing. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You got it 10 times in a row. Then you can invade...
All right, I have that soundtrack. I still use that soundtrack for like bump music for stuntman shows.
Oh yeah.
It's
love that soundtrack. We danced to it at your wedding. We
danced to it at the wedding, right? You were a ninja attacking me during my wedding to that song. Frozen Taco, the band I'm in with Theron, we did an homage to that song, which we put Frozen Taco names in instead of Sub-Zero. Anyway, okay. So yes, good addition to kick off our guilty pleasure movies. Okay, here's my least controversial of my 3 guilty pleasure movies, and that is the fantasy classic LADYHAWKE.
LADYHAWKE.
LADYHAWKE with an E. Just so you're not, it's not just a hawk.
Hawk.
Right.
Lady.
But with a lady. It's got, for a movie that not many people even talk about today, I don't know, it's from the 80s, it has like a, Richard Donner directed it. Okay, that's Superman, Lethal Weapon, Goonies dude. You've got Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Broderick, Rutger Hauer are in this, and Rutger Hauer's not playing a villain for once. What? He's actually like the hero. So I'm just saying, it's got a lot going for it. The one thing that is just, I think, has kept this movie from taking off, in my opinion, is the soundtrack. The soundtrack to this movie is awful. It's done now. It's gonna sound like a joke, and in some ways it is, but it's not. This is serious. So okay, you would think like, oh, for instance, take any medieval fantasy movie. You're probably going to get like a John Williams type or an orchestral sound, or
it gives it kind of a sense of gravitas.
If John Williams had done this soundtrack, I'm going to go on a limb and say this would be one of the better movies remembered from the 80s. But instead, Richard Donner, apparently good friends with Alan Parsons. The Alan Parsons Project does the soundtrack to LADYHAWKE. And it just, it's like, it's got this 80s synth vibe, but it's trying to be like a historic medieval, and that's where this movie goes into camp, and it's like, oh, ouch, but it's got so many cool things to it. There's some fun action scenes. The storyline is pretty cool, generally. It's like, by day, she's a hawk. By night, he's a wolf, and they can never actually meet in person, so it's like a curse that they have to break. And we're doing spoilers here, but whatever. So there's an eclipse, and so the eclipse means they can both be together. And Rutger Hauer, this is awesome. Rutger Hauer, he has this like ancestral blade, which is a big two-handed sword. And his big finishing move, if he were in Mortal Kombat, his finishing move is he throws his sword, not like a, but like a spear, like a javelin. He shovels it. He shovel throws it, and we see him do that once to like impress Matthew Broderick, and then at the very end, he throws his sword through the villain to win. Which I think that I'm gonna go with that's a really bad strategy, generally speaking. If you're on the battlefield and you're like, I'm gonna get rid of my weapon. Whoop.
Lest you, want to attack again.
Yeah,
like
right.
Miss that one, or
attack number 2.
Hit the mark. You kind of need that.
He always hits. He's Rutger Hauer. He's always going to hit the mark. But yeah, Matthew Broderick.
If someone was going to throw a sword through me, I would. Well, I'm not sure if I would trust Rutger Hauer to hit me with the sword, but he would still probably beat me anyways. So
he's Rutger Hauer.
He doesn't need the sword to beat me.
He's an android from the future that will destroy you. Matthew Broderick, some very funny bits in there too. Actually, one of the early like bits where you got to see like a comedic side to Matthew Broderick in a non-annoying way. I can't remember where this 85 is that. I think that probably post dates Ferris Bueller, but somewhere right in there.
Vicinity of, I imagine.
So I'm just saying his comedic chops were on display in this movie as well. So, just saying.
I've never actually seen this movie, but I've seen it spoofed enough times to get the basic gist of it.
Gotcha. Yeah, the soundtrack is, mwah! Anyway, okay. All right, so that's mine. So, all right, we passed ping pong. Boop! Back to you.
Right, boom. Balls in my court. All right, number two. Number 2 for me. All right, so I had a lot of debate on this one, and I think I finally settled on Event Horizon.
Event Horizon? Whoa! Okay.
I love Event Horizon.
All right. Explain, sir.
So the basic premise of Event Horizon, for those who haven't seen it, is like there's this like spaceship that like was gonna travel faster than the speed of light or whatever. It's like the whole is like harnesses the event horizon of a black hole to travel whatever, and it gets lost. And then they find it, and they've got like this crew with like Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne and other people.
Other people, right?
It was like, I think the dude from I think Lucius Malfoy was on there.
Is this the one where everybody goes crazy on the spaceship?
Well, so here's the thing.
Okay, I'm trying to remember which one Event Horizon. Okay.
When they jump through this like whatever it warped through this thing. It like basically opens a door to hell.
Okay.
So you have like straight up actual hell.
Oh, literally hell, not like you're not being sarcastic.
No, like it's like gateway to actual hell.
Actual hell.
Kind of like Hellraiser style hell, but still hell.
Okay.
And so you've got like this. It's sort of like crazy haunted house thing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like the ship is now like part of hell, haunted. I don't know whatever it is. I don't know, but like sci-fi slasher movie, ridiculous stuff. A lot of eye gouging. And
how many eye gouges?
Well, I know Sam Neill gouges his own eyes out.
Oh shoot. Okay.
He doesn't die either. So then he's like hanging out.
Oh, he's
being,
gougy
like,
guy.
And no eyes.
Like feel sorry for me. I gouged myself.
No. He goes pretty evil at that point.
Okay.
He also has no eyes.
Okay.
So he's like, I'm evil, but I have no eyes, and I'm like, join me in eyeless pain and whatever, that kind of thing.
Okay. Right.
So he does that. Yeah. There's this bit, like his scream when he like has these weird visions of his dead wife who like committed suicide or something, which of course come back to haunt him because he's on the hell ship.
Because he's on a hell ship, it's not going to be good dreams.
When he does this, like, there's one part where she like starts like attacking him, and he has this like scream of like oh, and this just became a joke with my friends in college. Just this like oh. My buddy David Weiss like made this video where this like just keeps popping up with Sam Neill's head doing that like every 10 seconds.
That's awesome. That is
Yay, Event Horizon.
Yay, Event Horizon.
Mid-90s era, just sci-fi horror slasher movie in space. You get some fun people, some like crazy premises, and some weird sets. It's fun. It's campy and whatever.
So few spaceship journeys in movies ever go well.
No.
Like if you're in space in a spaceship, get ready.
Well, it's also one of those situations where it's like, something went horribly, horribly wrong on this ship. Let's go hang out on this ship more.
Right. Let's go find out why.
Oh, look, there's, flayed corpses. Let's investigate.
Like, what was it? Prometheus? The aliens.
Yeah.
The part of that movie, there's a lot to talk about with that movie. This is not my guilty pleasure movie, by the way.
No, that
one was tough to sit through. But
necessary.
I just remember there was this moment where the scientists are like hanging out with a new alien species they've just discovered. It's like this snake-like thing, and they're just watching it really close up, like standing around it, pointing at it like it's a puppy. Wow! Oh, it killed him. Uh-oh!
Up to this point, people had not encountered aliens yet. So this is like first encounter
exactly.
With aliens. They're like, hey, look at this thing.
Their security level 0. Okay. Anyway, all right, we got off topic there, but okay. Okay. So my second guilty pleasure movie, Lord of the Rings. Not Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, which I do love, and I have the whole trilogy, and I got the director's cut, and I'm a fan.
You have to watch it an entire day. Version.
Yeah. I'm talking about the animated version from the 70s.
Oh yeah.
Done by Ralph Bakshi of Wizards and Fire and Ice fame. Dude did some really classic animated movies.
I have not actually seen the full Lord of the Rings. I've seen The Hobbit though.
Right. So now so good point. Brought that up. The Hobbit, the original animated Hobbit, was done by Rankin Bass. So that's a production company that did the big eyes, and they're like, woo, ah! Hey, cool movie. I enjoy Hobbit, but Ralph Bakshi, totally different animation style. So he did what they called rotoscoping.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Which
where they
nowadays.
They film live action, and then they like trace the live action onto an animation cell. Now he did that, but here's where it gets a little weird. He did that for like half the movie, and the other half is traditional animation. So it looks weird. It is a weird movie. Tough to watch it now, and what made it somewhat, I don't know how popular it was at the time, but it got, I would say, mixed criticism. Part of it, the reason is it's called Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. It ends after the Battle of Helm's Deep, which that's about midway through the Two Towers. So it's about
there's some stuff they kind of left out.
They did. So when originally it was called Lord of the Rings Part 1. And that was what it was going to be, and they were going to make 2 movies.
Yeah.
But the production company, this shows you where we've come since the 70s. The production company was like, who's going to watch a movie that says Part 1 in front of it? So they just said, nope, it's Lord of the Rings. We'll market it as Lord of the Rings. And so everybody went to the theater expecting to see Lord of the Rings, and then suddenly, halfway through Lord of the Rings, credits. And it was weird, and it wasn't until years later that Rankin Bass, the people that did The Hobbit, came back and did Return of the King and kind of made it like a bookend, but it's such a huge difference. Anyway, so it had some problems with it, but there are some moments, kind of like you were talking about, laughing at like Sam Neill. There are a few moments in this that I compare actually favorably to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Okay. And I'll give you one example. My buddy Theron and I, every time we watch Lord of the Rings together, which kind of we do, but whatever. There's a moment.
You're a nerd?
You're talking to me? Wait, what? So, of course, it's at the Battle of Helm's Deep because the animated movie doesn't go any farther. So Aragorn, Theoden, together, they're about to ride out and face certain doom. And in the movie version, in the Peter Jackson version. Well, actually, I should say I'll start with in the Ralph Bakshi version. Theoden looks at Aragorn and he does this awesome line, which is, "Perhaps we will make such an end as will be worth a song." And then they ride. It's like kick ass, yeah, baby. And it kind of makes sense in that world because the songs are these tales of the epic heroes. Yeah. I believe it's actually from the book itself as well. So when that moment came in the Peter Jackson version, I was all ready for it. There's Theoden, Aragorn. Theoden steps up and he's like, "Perhaps we will make such an end." And I'm like, oh, here comes that line I love. And he goes instead, here's the line. "Perhaps we can make such an end as will be worth remembrance." I'm like, what? Remembrance? Yeah. What? Why would you not say worth a song? That is so kick-ass! Anyway, so that was awesome. There's a couple of great lines that Gandalf has when he's arguing with Saruman. He's like, "Aruman!" He calls him Aruman, which I don't know if that's a mistake or if he just couldn't say his S's that day. It sounded cool, though.
Yeah, Aruman.
I watch always then. It's also the animated version, as much as there is, I would say is slightly more adheres to the books. Like, Bakshi was pretty close. The only thing he did as well as the movie is he cut out Tom Bombadil. It was like, eh.
Oh, no.
So Tommy didn't make it. But of note, I should point out, John Hurt is the voice of Aragorn. And this is a pretty good one. This is a little deep cut for you. The voice of Legolas, C-3PO's Anthony Daniels.
Anthony Daniels?
What?
Oh,
all right, so there you go. A little Star Wars tie-in.
Anthony Daniels has done something else because I've only seen him be C-3PO.
Yeah, I know.
Which, by the way, he's still C-3PO.
He's still
way to go, Anthony Daniels, man.
He's Legolas. I'm just saying. Throw in. Now you can also say also Legolas. And there's some cool animation, the non-rotoscoping animation. There's this great shot of like Legolas's cape billowing in the wind while he's shooting his arrows. Anyway, there's some cool stuff in there. It is not a perfect movie. I'll go with that, especially since it ends halfway through.
Yeah,
it's
like, I think that's definitely a blow against it. There.
And the animation is woogity. Boy, that rotoscoping. Apparently, I read this somewhere. Bakshi actually he had a bunch of extras dressed up as orcs, and he was filming them. And then when he was like, "And cut," and then they all started wandering off, like to go to craft services or whatever. He's like filming them And then he used that in the movie of like orcs hanging out at craft services. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So there you go. That was my second one. Ping pong back to you, sir. Your number one controversial guilty pleasure.
All right, this is my one that I'll admit I kind of love watching The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Yeah.
Oh, that is. I mean, you can go on this one. This is a mess of a movie. Okay, go ahead.
It is. All right, yes. All right, first of all, I'm gonna get out of the way. Yes, this is definitely a mess of a movie. I fully cop to that.
We're talking to Sean Connery, right? We're talking. I mean, I don't think there's another version, but okay.
No, this is the one. This is the one.
All right.
This is it. Him. Yeah. Alan Quartermain, all that stuff. Yeah. No, there's totally a mess of a plot. Like they kind of like change the villain like every 10 minutes or so or whatever.
Like Tom Sawyer. All right, anyway, okay.
Yeah, and they throw in Tom Sawyer who doesn't need to. Yes, no, I fully admit all that. But I love the design of this movie. I love some of the characters. I like some of the actors. I'm happy with it. Like
Give me a scene. Tell me a scene that you're like, yes,
okay,
that one.
So, all right, so there's a couple things. There's a couple things here. First of all, so the dude who plays the Invisible Man is Tony Curran, and I love him. Like
okay.
I like him as an actor. He's like
especially when you can't see him. Okay, no.
He played Vincent Van Gogh in that one episode of Doctor Who. Like, he's a really cool actor. Big fan of the dude. Like, I like the dude who plays Mr. Hyde. Like, he was cool. The guy who played, they threw in, what's his name? Dorian Gray. He was all evil and creepy. And
he was good. He was evil and creepy.
And, like, I just kind of like the whole, like, turn of the century era stuff. Like, the design on the Nautilus was really cool. And
a little steampunky.
Oh, yeah. And all the cool stuff from Mr. Hyde. Like, his design was really cool, and he was fun.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more so. It's totally a guilty pleasure. Like if it's on, I will totally sit around and watch this, and I'll think of ways in which it could be better, but I'll still be happy with what I'm watching.
All right, fair enough.
And well, here's the other thing too: is years later, I went back and I read the full actual League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comic.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I have not done that.
I'm torn because there's some parts of it that are good, but also parts of it that are not. Like, there's some stuff they should totally have brought in for the movie. Like Mina's kind of more so like the actual like leader of the group, and that'd be cool. They should have had more of that. And
she is a vampire. I mean, she could totally kick.
Well, she wasn't actually a vampire in the comic. Actually,
oh, okay.
She was just just cool and awesome. Which is fine. Yeah, that's cool. I've been fine with that. Yeah, whatever. I didn't understand why they wanted to go vampire route because it looks cool. It's fun. You do stuff. Whatever. Whatever. But also in the comic, she gets she almost raped like 5 times, which don't always need that much rape.
Don't need that. That's a check mark.
Things like that.
Check minus.
And then, well, the thing is, in the comic, they don't really do a whole lot of actual successful stuff. Like, it's like, oh, we're gonna, get this team together, and they're gonna fight Dr. Fu Manchu, who they see one time, and then don't actually fight him themselves. Like, other people blow him up off screen, and that happens, and then they find out they're working for Dr. Moriarty, and then he grabs this thing and accidentally gets flies off into space and dies. We assume they don't really do a lot.
Okay, so you're saying movie is actually an improvement over the graphic novel.
Here's the thing.
I will say. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. The movie had a more coherent plot.
Wow. That's saying a lot. I've seen that movie a few times, and I still couldn't tell you the plot exactly.
Okay, so well, here's the bit. At the end of the movie, they established why they got everybody together. It's oh, we're gonna use skin cells from the Invisible Man to make it.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna use vampire blood and hide formula and whatnot, and we need Quartermain to get them all together. That is an explanation for why they're all together. Right. In the comic, it's man, we got some people. Let's get them to do stuff.
Right.
Quartermain, why not? He's on opium, but whatever.
Kind of. I mean, to throw it another direction, it's kind of Suicide Squatty. Where it's why are these people together? Why are these people together?
There's at least a reason, oh, this is the reason why all of these people are together. And then Nemo, it's hey, we got Nemo's ship because he's got cool stuff that he can do, and things like that. It's it actually makes it's a full explanation of why this crew is together as they are.
I would say one thing about that movie that bothers me when I see it is it feels like
there's tons. I'm not gonna say it's a good movie.
No. I hear you because mine is not a good movie either. It seems like the special effects hadn't quite gotten to where they needed to be for what they were trying to pull off. Maybe by today's special effects standards, some of that stuff would have looked better. I felt like there was some clunkiness to some of the.
I'll agree.
And there's a lot done in the dark. And you're like, what is happening? I can't tell. All right. So good one though, sir. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I have a feeling there's going to be a remake of that someday. Maybe there already is one in the works, but
so who knows?
Yep. All right, so
then again, also let's point out also one other thing that did not make the cut in the filmed version was the scene in which Mr. Hyde rapes the Invisible Man to death. That is a thing that happens.
It's a thing that shouldn't happen. But okay, all right then. Yeah. All right, I wonder why they cut that.
The second volume of it, but yeah, that's a thing that happened.
Okay, so my number one guilty pleasure. It's a movie. I think it's 2007. So it's more recent than the other ones that I mentioned. So I've gone 80s, 90s, now the aughts.
Okay, all right.
And it is up until this point. I don't know if this has been outspent now. Up until 2007, it was the most expensive movie ever funded by South Korea. Yep. The most expensive South Korean movie ever made. Dragon Wars.
Yeah, Dragon Wars.
Dragon Wars. So Dragon Wars is an awful movie. But it does that thing where it's so awful that it transcends and gets back to good. It's absurdly awesome to watch. It's got a horrible acting job by Robert Forster of all people. He's like this guy. He's been in like Jackie Brown. He's been in some much better films.
He's been in better films.
And in this, he plays like kind of like the Obi-Wan type character, the mentor, but he's only in it for a short time. But he's in it long enough to do the world's longest exposition. And then die, basically. And, I mean, like, the first 20 minutes of this movie is, like, exposition. Stop talking! Stop talking! But it's all dragons. It's, exactly, and they don't call them dragons. There are actually no dragons in Dragon Wars. They are called Imugis. And there's a great moment that I think it was actually done in post. But you see, like... You see these two dragons attacking each other. They're good and the bad dragon, blah, blah, blah. And then the hero, like, it cuts to, like, a long, far-away shot so you can't see his mouth. And he says, I think in a studio somewhere, "Look, it's the good Imugi." And it's just like, that is indicative. That shows you the dialogue.
The high quality.
The quality. Look, it's the good Imugi. Like, oh, wow, great, thanks. I'm glad you. Oh, the white one, good, got it. Yeah. Another actor of note in this, who I didn't know at the time, but has since become somewhat ubiquitous in comedy movies, Craig Robinson.
Oh, Craig Robinson.
Hot Tub Time Machine guy. He plays like the sidekick, kind of the best friend of the hero. If I try to describe the plot, it's not just. They're dragon-like things, and they fight, and there's a prophecy and a thing. Okay, so he plays a sidekick, and there's this great moment where his name's Bruce. He's like, "You want some?" And he does this like he's coming at the villain with like a sword in his hand that he doesn't know how to use, and then he gets knocked down by the villain. But when he gets knocked down, he does. I'll go this far: an improvement on the Wilhelm scream.
Ooh,
that's how good it's a. Ah! I can't even do it. I'm not doing it justice. I'm sorry, Craig Robinson. It's a great. I've rewound that moment and watched it several times. It's a very funny moment.
More respect for Craig Robinson now, just because I know that he was in Dragon Wars.
He was in Dragon Wars. The production value, while the most expensive movie in South Korea, not so great. Although it does have this: dragons versus helicopters.
Well, there you go.
Bang! Flying around a city, shooting each other. You know, is it Avengers? No. But they were before Avengers, and they're flying around with helicopters, shooting at dragons. Yeah. I will give them credit for that, if nothing else, and pretty much nothing else. But yeah, the dialogue is so awful. It's just like breathe it in. It's like it was written by someone that maybe that English wasn't their first
Really
language.
speak a lot of
Maybe. So yeah, Dragon Wars, my number one guilty pleasure. It's no League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I have not seen that one, but I have always wanted to. I've heard
All right.
it is the guilty pleasure movie to watch.
So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We've reached our top 3 guilty pleasures. We're going to be doing some more of this type of thing. So if you like what you're seeing, please make a comment. Tell us what your guilty pleasure is.
Feel free to berate me for my terrible choice in movies.
Yes, berate me for Dragon
better
Wars.
movies, I swear, but I also like these movies.
So we'll be back with other stuff in the future. But for Dork Lords, this is Matt.
And
Rob. Awesome. And we will see you later at the movies. Whatever. All right.
In
Yeah.
theory.
Bye.
Hey!